All right, so today we're going to really dig into prepping for an aircraft assembler interview.
Okay.
And honestly, this is one of the coolest jobs out there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we're talking about building the machines that literally fly, take to the skies.
Absolutely.
We've got some great resources from RoleCatcher for this deep dive.
Cool.
We're looking at their career guide and also their interview guide, both specifically for aircraft assemblers.
Great resources.
So this is like your cheat sheet,
Mm.
your secret weapon to totally nail that interview.
It's gonna be great.
Now, before we jump into like the nitty-gritty of the interview questions,
Yeah.
I think it's important to really understand
Yeah.
what an aircraft assembler actually does.
Mm.
Because, it's way more than just putting parts together.
Oh, yeah.
I was reading through the What They Do section, the career guide,
Mm.
and it's like they're working with flight controls, skins rigging.
Yeah, you're working on some pretty complex systems.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just like bolting things together. It's a very specialized skill set.
Okay, so it really requires a deep understanding of how each component
Yeah.
impacts the aircraft's performance.
Yeah.
You're not just building something.
Right.
You're building something that has to function perfectly in the air.
And safely.
And safely.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility.
Okay, so let's get into some of these interview questions that you might get.
All right, let's do it.
The first one I've got here from the interview guide is, how did you become interested in aircraft assembly?
Okay.
So what's the interviewer really trying to find out here?
Well, I think they're really looking for passion.
Okay.
They want to know what sparked your interest in this field.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that you've always been fascinated by?
Yes.
Or is it just a job to you?
Got it.
So, did you build model airplanes as a kid?
Mhm.
Were you glued to documentaries about aircraft manufacturing?
Right.
Or maybe there's a specific aircraft that you just find absolutely amazing?
Okay, so they don't just want to hear, it seemed like a good job.
No, definitely not.
They want to see that spark,
Absolutely.
that excitement.
Yeah, it's about showing them you're not just there for a paycheck.
Got it.
You're genuinely interested in this field.
Okay, so think about those personal stories.
Yeah.
Things that really got you hooked on aircraft.
Did you spend hours poring over diagrams of aircraft engines?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you were fascinated by the physics of flight.
Right?
Weave those details into your answer.
Okay, great advice.
All right.
Now let's say the interviewer asks, what specific aircraft assembly tasks have you performed in the past?
Getting a little more technical now.
Yeah, this is where you really get to showcase your skills and experience.
Yeah, and don't just list generic tasks here.
Okay,
Use specific terminology from the career guide.
okay.
Did you work with flight control systems,
Mhm.
install aircraft skins, handle rigging procedures?
Okay,
Be specific.
right.
And this is actually where RoleCatcher's AI can really help you out.
Oh, how so?
Well, RoleCatcher will analyze the job description for you and highlight keywords that are related to specific tasks.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say the job posting really emphasizes experience with composite materials.
Right.
RoleCatcher will pick up on that, and it will prompt you to mention any experience you have working with those materials,
Got it.
even if it wasn't something that you explicitly put on your resume.
So it's like having a personal assistant who knows exactly what the employer is looking for?
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it can give you a real edge.
Okay, on to the next question. What safety protocols have you followed while working on aircraft assembly projects?
Okay, so now they're really digging into the safety aspect.
Yeah, but I mean, safety is huge in this industry, right?
It's absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
The interviewer wants to see that you understand that
Right.
and that you prioritize safety in everything you do. So don't just give them a generic answer like, I followed all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
You need to reference specific protocols and regulations.
Okay, so give them concrete examples.
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe talk about how you were responsible for tool safety checks or participated in regular safety training sessions.
Those are great examples.
Okay.
You could even share a time when you identified a potential safety hazard
Oh, wow.
and the steps that you took to mitigate it.
That's a great idea.
It shows you're not just following the rules,
Right.
you're actively thinking about safety.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
Now let's talk about quality. How do you ensure the quality of your work as an aircraft assembler?
All right, quality is another big one.
Yeah. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward,
Mm-hmm.
but I bet there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
There is, definitely.
Okay, so what are they really looking for here?
Well, they're looking for your attention to detail
Okay.
and your commitment to excellence.
Uh-huh.
Aircraft assembly is all about precision. So they want to know that you take pride in your work.
Got it.
and that you're dedicated to producing the highest quality product possible.
So what kind of things can you talk about?
Well, think about the steps you take to ensure your work meets those standards.
Mm-hmm.
Do you carefully follow blueprints?
Mm-hmm.
Use calibrated tools?
Right.
Double check everything?
Okay.
And don't forget about documentation.
Documentation.
The career guide actually emphasizes the importance of that.
Okay.
Recording any discrepancies, alerting your team immediately. You need to show them that you understand.
Okay.
That quality control is important throughout the entire assembly process.
So it's not just about doing the work correctly, it's also about clear communication.
Absolutely.
And proactive problem solving.
Exactly. And this actually ties in nicely with the career stages section of the career guide.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, as you progress in your career as an aircraft assembler, you might find yourself mentoring junior team members, guiding them on quality assurance procedures.
That makes sense.
So if you highlight your understanding of these procedures early on, it shows them that you have that potential for growth.
Okay, that's a great point.
All right.
All right, so here's another one. How do you prioritize and manage your workload as an aircraft assembler?
This is all about organization.
Yeah.
Aircraft assembly often involves juggling multiple tasks.
Right.
And meeting some pretty tight deadlines. So they want to see that you can handle the pressure.
Okay.
And that you can stay organized.
Right.
So think about the techniques that you use to manage your workload effectively.
Yeah.
Do you prioritize tasks based on urgency? Do you break down large projects into smaller steps?
That's smart.
Do you use checklists?
Yep.
Project management software?
Okay.
Whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just be prepared to explain your process.
Right. And again, RoleCatcher can help you tailor your answer to the specific job.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If the job description emphasizes multitasking or working under pressure,
Right.
RoleCatcher will highlight those skills for you.
Got it.
So you can really focus on them in your response.
It's like having a personalized study guide for your interview.
Exactly.
Okay, let's tackle this one. How do you handle unexpected challenges or problems that arise during aircraft assembly projects?
Oh, yeah. Things definitely don't always go according to plan.
Right.
So with this question, they're trying to gauge your problem-solving skills and your ability to stay calm under pressure.
Okay.
So think of a specific situation where you encountered a challenge during an assembly project.
All right, so let's say I had to troubleshoot a faulty component.
Okay, good example.
How would I structure my answer?
Use the STAR method.
The STAR method?
Situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
So describe the situation, outline the task, explain the actions that you took to overcome the problem, and then highlight the positive outcome that you achieved.
So I had explained the problem I had, how I analyzed the situation, maybe consulted some technical drawings or collaborated with colleagues, and then the steps I took to fix it.
Exactly.
And make sure the assembly met quality standards.
It's all about showing them that you can think critically.
Okay.
Solve problems effectively, and collaborate with others when needed.
And speaking of collaboration, here's a question that focuses on that.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that your team is working effectively and efficiently on aircraft assembly projects?
Teamwork's so important in this field.
Yeah. I mean, even if you haven't held a formal leadership role,
right,
you've probably been part of a team.
Absolutely.
So what kind of things can I talk about here?
Well, think about times when you've worked effectively with others to achieve a common goal.
Okay.
Did you facilitate communication?
Yeah.
Offer support to your colleagues? Help resolve conflicts?
Got it.
Those are all valuable teamwork skills.
And this ties back to the Career Guide's insights on career progression too, right?
It does.
Because as you move up, you'll be mentoring and leading teams.
Yeah, so highlighting that collaborative approach early on can really show the interviewer that you're thinking long-term.
Okay, that's a good tip.
All right.
Now, here's a question about staying up to date. How do you stay up to date on the latest trends and technologies in the field of aircraft assembly?
You always got to be learning in this field.
Yeah, the aerospace industry is constantly evolving.
It is.
So how do you show them that you're committed to continuous learning?
Well, have you taken any professional development courses?
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow any industry publications? Have you attended any conferences?
Right.
Those are all great ways to stay informed.
I'd also think it's important to mention any specific technologies that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, let's say you're fascinated by advancements in composite materials or The use of robotics in assembly?
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not just passively keeping up.
Right.
You're actively seeking out new knowledge. And you know what else? RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you with this question too.
Oh, how so?
Well, it can analyze the job description and highlight any keywords related to specific technologies or trends that they might be looking for.
Got it.
So if the job posting mentions experience with 3D printing for aircraft components, RoleCatcher will flag that for you, giving you a chance to showcase any relevant experience or knowledge you have in that area.
So it's really about connecting your passion for learning with the specific needs of the role.
Exactly.
All right, last question for this part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that you are following all necessary regulations and guidelines when working on aircraft assembly projects?
All right, regulations.
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, key.
I mean, there's no room for error in this industry.
Absolutely not.
So how do you really nail this answer?
Well, you need to show the interviewer that you understand and respect the importance of adhering to those industry standards. So don't just say, I follow the rules. You need to be more specific.
Okay, so like what?
Well, start by mentioning your familiarity with key regulations. Like FAA guidelines, for example. You can even mention specific regulations related to quality control or safety protocols. But don't stop there.
What else?
Show them that you actively incorporate those regulations into your workflow. So for instance, maybe you always consult the latest FAA guidelines before you start any task. Or you ensure that all of your work is documented and traceable.
I see.
You know, it's about demonstrating that following regulations isn't just a box to check for you. It's an integral part of your approach to aircraft assembly.
Got it.
And you can even take it a step further by mentioning how you stay up to date on any regulatory changes. Maybe you subscribe to industry publications or you attend workshops on the latest updates.
That makes sense.
It shows you're proactive and committed to staying informed.
All right, well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
And we'll dive into some more questions in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Okay, so let's get back to those interview questions.
All right, sounds good.
This next one is all about documentation.
Oh, documentation fun.
I know, right? Not the most glamorous part of aircraft assembly. But it's incredibly important.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So the question is, how do you ensure that all necessary documentation and paperwork is completed accurately and on time?
Okay, so they're really digging into the detail-oriented side of things.
They are.
Because every step needs to be recorded, right?
Absolutely. Every single step.
So how do you make this answer interesting?
Well, you focus on your systems and processes. You know, how do you ensure accuracy? How do you meet those deadlines? Do you have checklists? Do you double-check your work? Do you use any specific software for managing documentation?
Right, because I bet a lot of companies use specialized software now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To keep track of everything.
And again, this is where RoleCatcher can be really helpful.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Their AI can actually analyze the job description and highlight any keywords related to specific documentation systems. So if the job posting mentions a particular software that they use, RoleCatcher will flag that for you.
Got it.
So you can be prepared to talk about your experience with it.
So you're not caught off guard.
Exactly.
Okay, that's great.
All right, let's move on to teamwork.
Okay, teamwork.
The question is, how do you ensure that your team is working effectively and efficiently on aircraft assembly projects?
Okay, so this sounds like a question more for someone in a leadership position?
Well, even if you haven't officially led a team, you've probably been part of one.
Yeah, for sure.
And aircraft assembly is a very collaborative field. So think about times when you've contributed to a team's success.
Oh, okay, so I could talk about things like facilitating communication?
Offering support to colleagues?
Yeah.
Helping to resolve conflicts?
Those are all great examples. And remember what we talked about earlier, career progression. As you advance in your career, you might find yourself mentoring or leading teams. So highlighting that collaborative approach, it shows the interviewer you're thinking long term.
Okay, so it's like planting that seed.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, next question. How do you stay up to date on the latest trends and technologies in the field of aircraft assembly?
So this is all about showing you're a lifelong learner.
It is.
Which is so important in this industry.
Absolutely, because things are constantly changing. So how do you stay ahead of the curve? Do you take professional development courses? Do you read industry publications, attend conferences?
Yeah, those are all good ones.
And talk about specific technologies that you're interested in?
Okay.
You know, if you're fascinated by advancements in composite materials.
Right. Or the use of robotics in assembly. Those are great talking points.
It shows you're not just keeping up. You're actively seeking out new knowledge.
Exactly.
And I bet RoleCatcher can help with this one too.
Oh, you bet.
How's
their AI can analyze the job description and highlight any key words related to specific technologies or trends that they're looking for.
So if the job posting mentions experience with 3D printing, RoleCatcher will flag that for me.
It will.
Okay, cool.
So you can highlight that experience.
All right, next question. This one focuses on precision and attention to detail. What are some of the challenges of working with small parts and components in aircraft assembly?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
Because, I mean, this job requires a steady hand, right?
For sure, and a lot of patience. So they're really trying to assess your dexterity and your ability to focus on those really intricate tasks.
So what kind of things should I talk about here?
Well, think about your experience.
Yeah.
Have you worked with small, delicate components before? Maybe you've had to use specialized tools or magnifying devices.
Yeah.
Talk about the techniques that you use to maintain accuracy and to avoid errors.
So things like good lighting.
Yeah, good lighting's important.
A clean workspace.
Absolutely. You could even talk about ergonomics and how you maintain focus during those long periods of meticulous work.
Right, because you can't get distracted.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so it's all about showing them that you can handle those tiny parts.
Yes.
And stay focused.
And that you're creating a safe and efficient work environment.
Okay, I like it.
All right, ready for a bit of a challenge?
Oh, a challenge. Bring it on.
Okay, here it is. Tell me about a time you had to work under pressure to meet a tight deadline in an aircraft assembly project.
Okay, so now they're seeing how I handle stress.
They are. This is a classic behavioral interview question, and it's all about gauging your ability to stay calm, focused, and productive when things get tough.
So what's a good example I could use?
We'll think back to a specific situation where you faced a challenging deadline.
Okay, let's say I was working on an assembly project, and a critical component arrived late.
Okay, very realistic scenario.
Right, happens all the time.
It does.
So how do I answer this?
Use the STAR method again.
Okay, situation, task, action, result.
Exactly. So describe the situation, outline the task.
Right.
Explain the actions you took to overcome that obstacle. And highlight the positive results that you achieved.
So I could say that I collaborated with the team to adjust the schedule, worked overtime to catch up, and ultimately delivered the project on time.
Even with that delay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's about showing that I am adaptable.
Yes.
Solution-oriented. And I can maintain quality even under pressure.
Absolutely. And this is a good opportunity to mention those insights from the career guide.
Oh, okay.
About the demands of the job.
Right.
You know, it shows the interviewer you understand the realities of the industry.
And I'm prepared for it.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that.
Okay, next question. Describe your experience with interpreting and working from blueprints and technical drawings in aircraft assembly.
Okay, so this is where I show off my blueprint reading skills.
Yes, this is all about technical knowledge.
Because you have to be able to understand those complex instructions.
Absolutely.
And translate them into precise assembly work.
It's a critical skill.
So what should I focus on in my answer?
Well, think about the complex assemblies you've worked on.
Okay.
And describe how you use the blueprints to guide your work.
So, like, did I have to identify specific components? Determine assembly sequences?
Yes.
Interpret complex measurement?
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you have any experience with CAD software, be sure to mention that too.
Right, because that's becoming more and more common.
It is.
And RoleCatcher can help me tailor my answer for this one as well, right?
Oh, actually.
By highlighting any specific blueprint reading skills.
Yeah, or software they're looking for. All right, let's move on to a more personal question.
Okay.
What are your strengths and weaknesses as an aircraft assembler?
This one's always a little tough.
It can be, but it's very common.
Yeah.
They want to see if you're self-aware.
Okay.
And if you're honest. So the key here is to choose strengths that are relevant to the job.
Right.
And weaknesses that you're actively working to improve.
Okay, so what are some good strengths to mention?
Well, think about what we've talked about already.
Okay, so attention to detail.
Yes.
Precision. Patience. Problem-solving skills.
Those are all great.
Ability to work independently and as part of a team.
Excellent.
Okay.
And don't just list them, give specific examples.
Okay, so like for attention detail, I could say, I always double check my work against the blueprints to ensure accuracy.
Perfect.
Or for teamwork, I could say, I enjoy collaborating with colleagues to solve complex assembly challenges.
That's great.
Yeah.
And when it comes to weaknesses, choose something you're actively working on.
Okay, so not just, I'm a perfectionist.
Right, because that can come across as a bit cliche.
Yeah.
So instead, you could say something like,
Okay.
I'm working on improving my time management skills so I can complete tasks more efficiently without sacrificing quality.
Okay, so it's about being honest,
Yes.
but also showing that you're trying to improve.
Exactly.
And RoleCatcher can give me feedback on my answers for this one too.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
They can help you identify any areas for improvement and make sure your responses are really hitting the mark.
Okay, awesome.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground in this section.
We have.
But there's still a few more questions to go.
All right, well, let's take a quick break.
Sounds good.
And then we'll dive into those in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, so let's jump back into it with another question.
Okay, hit me.
This one's all about problem solving. Describe a time you had to troubleshoot a problem during an aircraft assembly process.
Okay, so they really want to see how I think on my feet, right?
Yeah, they want to see how you handle those unexpected challenges. Because let's face it, things don't always go perfectly.
Never do.
Exactly. So they want to see that you can identify the root cause of the problem.
Right.
Come up with solutions, and then implement them effectively.
So what's the best way to answer a question like this?
Well, I think the STAR method is your best bet here.
Okay, that's situation, task, action, result, right?
You got it.
All right, so I need to think of a specific example.
Yeah, so think back to a time when you encountered a problem during an assembly project.
Okay, so let's say a component didn't fit properly.
All right, good example. Or maybe a system malfunctioned during testing.
Yeah, that would definitely be a problem.
So once you have that situation in mind, you're going to walk them through it using that STAR method.
Okay, so I'd describe the situation.
Right.
Outline the task I was trying to complete. Explain how I analyze the situation.
Did you consult any technical drawings?
Yeah, maybe, or collaborated with colleagues. And then I detailed the steps I took to fix the issue.
Right, and make sure that the assembly met quality standards.
Exactly.
It's about showcasing your analytical skills, your technical knowledge, and your ability to work both independently and as part of a team.
Got it.
Okay, let's move on to safety. How do you stay current with safety regulations and procedures in aircraft assembly?
Safety always so important.
Absolutely. It's paramount in this industry.
So what are some good ways to show them I'm on top of the latest regulations?
Well, staying updated on those FAA guidelines is crucial.
Of course.
You know, maybe you subscribe to industry publications, participate in online forums or communities where professionals discuss these things.
Good idea.
You could also mention any safety-related training courses or workshops that you've attended.
Those are all good ones.
And you know what else you can mention?
What's that?
That you regularly review safety procedures at your current or previous workplace.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it shows you're proactive about it.
Okay.
All right, now for a question that everyone loves. What are your salary expectations for this aircraft assembler position?
Oh, yeah. The salary question, always a little awkward.
It can be. But the key here is to do your research beforehand.
Okay, so I should check websites like Glassdoor or salary.com.
Yeah, those are good resources.
To see what other aircraft assemblers are making.
Exactly. And consider your level of experience. And any specialized skills that you bring to the table.
So if I have experience with a specific type of aircraft or a certain assembly process.
That could definitely impact your salary expectation.
Okay, and during the interview, I should be flexible. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Not like demanding a specific number.
Yeah, express a willingness to discuss it further based on the specific responsibilities of the role.
Okay, good advice.
So it shows you're open to negotiation.
Right.
And focused on finding the right fit overall.
Okay, great.
I think we've covered a really good range of interview questions today.
We have. It's been really helpful.
I hope so.
And before we wrap up, I just want to emphasize how valuable RoleCatcher can be.
Yes, definitely. Their AI-powered platform is incredible for interview prep.
It analyzes those job descriptions, highlights those key skills and experience,
and provides personalized feedback on your answers.
So it's like having a personal coach in your corner.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot of great tips and strategies.
I hope so.
For acing their aircraft assembler interviews.
Remember, it's all about showcasing your passion for the industry.
Right.
Highlighting your skills and experience and demonstrating your commitment to safety, quality, and continuous learning.
Couldn't said it better myself. And of course, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way.
Absolutely. Their personalized guidance and that those AI-powered tools can really help you stand out.
And land that dream job.
So keep learning, keep exploring, and keep reaching for the sky.
That's a great way to put it.
All right.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into aircraft assembler interview prep.
It's been fun.
We hope you found it helpful and insightful, and we wish you the best of luck with your interviews.
Good luck, everyone.
And remember, RoleCatcher is there to help you soar to new heights in your career.